Next on BYUSN, do you care when the Big 12 football schedule is released?
Yes, I still do. Plus, what's it going to take for men's basketball to play in the postseason?
It's going to take some wins. Just how many? We'll discuss. Welcome to BYU Sports Nation, presented by the BYU Store, official outfit of BYU fans everywhere. It is Monday, January 16th, Martin Luther King Jr. Day. We honor the Reverend and the Doctor for his amazing life. I am Jarom Jordan. He is Dave McKinn.
Good morning.
What's up?
You know, in the spirit of Dr. King, do something nice for somebody today.
Amen.
Just get out there and do something nice. Make the world a better place. BYU felt pretty good Saturday, coming out of that win against Pepperdine.
Nice win.
After Thursday. And, of course, football is always on our mind. You know, middle of January, we're thinking about football. Today's
a big day, which we'll talk about. It's the last day to declare for the NFL draft. So, Blake Freeland, you staying or you going? We'll find out today.
What's he projected? What's the buzz?
Third round projection by at least one website. A bunch of mocks have him as high as the first round, maybe second. So we'll see. It's probably in his best interest to go, Dave.
Seems like it would. If he came back, it'd be like really sweet for Keaton Slovis.
It'd be amazing. Kingsley Suamataia probably anxious to play left tackle. And we always got some guys who are ready to get in there. Braden Kime maybe at right tackle. So we'll see.
So today's the day. So if you are going to jump to the next level in the NFL,
like me personally,
you'll be announcing.
Yeah, I will be announcing later.
If you don't announce today, it's not going to happen.
As a third-string kicker, yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
Here's what's coming up on today's show. When is the Big 12 schedule going to be released? There's some buzz that maybe in 24 hours. And at this point, do we care what it looks like when it comes out? I think yes, but we're all frustrated with the time it's taken. Fousseyni Traore is going to be on this show this morning. They got a big week ahead. He's such a fun guy, and we look forward to visiting with Foose in just a bit. And who has the best path to the Super Bowl? Andy Reid, coach of the Chiefs, or Fred Warner, the best linebacker in the game with San Francisco? Right now, let's roll out today's headlines.
Men's Hoops beats Pepperdine 91-81 thanks to 19 points, 9 rebounds, 3 steals from Foose. Both teams shot over 50%. BYU went 25 of 32 from the free throw line, out-rebounded the Waves by 18. Cougars hit the road for a big set of games at Santa Clara Thursday, San Francisco Saturday.
The women start the new week on a 6-game winning streak. Cougars beat Pepperdine Saturday behind Lauren Gustin's third consecutive game of 20 or more rebounds.
Incredible.
And 17th double-double in 18 games this season. Also incredible. The Cougars host San Francisco Thursday afternoon at 1 Eastern, 11 a.m. Mountain Time, right here on BYU TV.
Kids Day. Going to be loud.
It's going to be loud.
Pro Football Focus has Blake Freeland as its second highest rated offensive tackle of the season. We should go to the NFL. 87th overall on the top 100 big board as well. Today, by the way, as mentioned, the last day to declare for the NFL draft. Caleb Hayes accepted an invite to the NFL PA Collegiate Bowl, which will be played on January 28th. And Chris Brooks played really well for Team Kai in the Hula Bowl on Saturday. We'll see what that means for Chris in the pros.
You know, if he goes to the pros, that's 4 straight running backs BYU's put in the NFL. Jamal, Tyson, Tyler, and Brooks.
That'd be pretty good.
That's why Aiden Robbins...
I didn't even realize it was 3 in a row, really, because I'd kind of forgotten about Tyson.
Yeah.
But you're exactly right.
That's why Aiden Robbins is here in school, sitting in class.
Because he wants
to follow those guys. Wild card weekend in the NFL was a mixed bag for 4 former Cougars, but it was fun to watch. Fred Warner had 6 tackles in the 49ers' 41-23 win over Jerem's Seahawks. Michael Davis, 5 tackles, couple of pass breakups. Kyle Van Noy, 3 tackles and a pass breakup in a 31-30 loss to the Jags. When we started our game Saturday night with Pepperdine, they were up 27-0. When the game ended, I checked my phone to see what the score was, and they had lost.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, it was. Kyrus Tonga with a tackle for the Vikings in a 31-24 loss to the Giants. Don't even talk to me about that pass on 4th and 14. I'm going to go for 6 and end the season.
Yeah, 4th and 8 or 9, right? Yeah. Okay, indoor track and field hosted a meet over the weekend. The men won 6 events, highlighted by Aiden Troutner, who broke the Smith Fieldhouse facility record in the mile, set by 2-time Olympian Doug Padilla in 1981. A 4:01 72-mile. The fastest indoor mile in the nation this season. The women won 5 events. Jaslyn Gardner won the 200 with a 24:37. She is lightning fast. She's ranked 7th nationally.
I think I remember hearing a supersonic boom that afternoon. That must have been
from South Campus,
running around. Gymnastics comes in 4th at the Best of Utah meet with a 195.175. For the second meet in a row, Anissa Alvarado leading the Cougars on bars with a score of 9.9. Rebecca Ripley, who was in studio with us last week on Friday, ended the competition with a 9.850 with her Barbie Girl routine, which is a fan favorite. Friday night, you can see her and the rest of the Cougars back in action against Boise State at the Marriott Center, 9 Eastern on BYU TV.
New AP pulls out in men's basketball. Gonzaga up 2 spots to 6th. St. Mary's amazingly still not in.
Is the entire Big 12 ranked this week?
I think everybody's in. It's going to be fun next year.
Oh,
fun
man.
is one word for it. All rise and shout. It's time for What's Trending. What's Trending is presented by BYU Food to Go, the MVP of your next event. So over the weekend, 2 incoming Big 12 athletic directors, UCF and Houston, both either said or implied that the Big 12 football schedule was coming out Tuesday or soon, then backtracked or went quiet on it. In December, we thought it might be released. We heard February a couple weeks ago at the National Championship Media Day with Brett Yormark and whatnot. So at this point, do you care when the Big 12 football schedule comes out?
Saw a great tweet from Cougar Stats. Said, I think the Empire State Building was constructed in less time than the expanded Big 12 schedule.
Let's make it liken it unto us. The Salt Lake Temple was built quicker than
something like that. You know, I think Oklahoma and Texas messed it up. I think it was on schedule to come out December 1st, and then it was on schedule to come out with the announced TV deal at the championship game. That TV deal isn't done yet, though. Not signed.
They haven't announced it. Yeah.
So they haven't.
We've heard the report.
Official thing,
Yep.
So then Texas and Oklahoma won out earlier, a year earlier, so that they can expand in the SEC at the same time the Big Ten expands with USC. Makes sense for those 2 leagues. And then for some reason, then everything just stopped. And even BYU officials kind of like, we're just waiting to see. The Olympic sports schedules are all done. Women's basketball, men's basketball, of course, the big one, football, has yet to be announced. Be cool if it came out tomorrow, but I don't think it will. But how many times do you check your phone each day going, maybe it just came out?
At this point, I'm not waiting for it on pins and needles like that. But you mentioned the basketball schedule. They just haven't announced those then? They haven't come out.
They haven't announced
yet,
the Olympics, but the Olympic sports are done. They're already BYU.
Volleyball, soccer. Oh,
yeah.
Well, let's get them. Let's talk about it. I'd love to know in basketball what the who you're playing once at home and not on the road.
That's going to be interesting. Yeah. So those are the big 3 that we still haven't got. Women's hoops, men's hoops, and football.
Yeah. Soccer and volleyball, baseball, softball, gymnastics, all interested in those, of course.
Yeah, absolutely.
And whatnot. Yeah, I don't really care when it comes out at this point. I would love it by the end of February, just because it's nice to have going into kind of the spring, summer, and figuring it all out. But in terms of the timing, no. But what I really hope to know is, obviously who is on the schedule. I would love Texas and Oklahoma to be on there because we don't know whether there's going to be a year 2. It'd be awesome to have them both in Provo. Guessing at least one of those 2 would be in Provo. Love to have the bye week in the middle of the year. Ideally 3 games into conference play, which is at the midway point. It's just hard to play like 9 or 10 in a row. I'm hoping it's not early. Like the first 2 weeks should be very winnable games at home that don't require a bye week to get over them. At Arkansas, a couple more Big 12 games, ideally 3, and then a bye week would be the most ideal time. I'd almost take it a little later or sooner, somewhere in that kind of, game 5, 6, 7 area would be nice. And then I don't really care about 5 home, 4 road in particular this year. I would love BYU to get into the 7 home game range. Yeah. Listen, fans, just understand, 1, tickets are going to be more expensive, and 2, if BYU gets a 7 home game situation, they better their chances to actually do something in a season because you're just better at home, right? But it costs more money. The cost of that success, potentially if you win, is that it costs you more at home, paying for the game when you show up to the stadium. So just understand that point. So we'll see what happens. BYU at a minimum obviously has 6 home games, but I'd love to get in the 7 home game range at some point.
I would like to see us play 7 and that 7th game in Vegas because that's out of the season ticket package. So the season ticket holder doesn't get hit by that extra game because that's the difference maybe between $2,500 and $3,500 or depending on where you want to sit. But if you move it to Vegas and then you say, hey, anyone can buy a ticket down in Vegas, and we know that BYU can
as a home game, you're saying?
As a home game. And
but not part of the season ticket.
Not part of the season ticket package. That way you get 7 games that aren't in an opposing team stadium.
Yes, 6.
Vegas is your stadium, and then you get 6 here.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a Big 12 game down in Vegas, or maybe it's
anybody but Notre Dame.
You know, anybody but Notre Dame. It took us, 2 centuries to get that game.
What will take longer, BYU scheduling Notre Dame or getting the Big 12
And I know some people don't like playing games down in Vegas. I am not one of those guys.
Who doesn't?
You know, I just think
there are people that don't. I think it's awesome. The Arizona game was unbelievable. The Notre Dame game, obviously, was mostly Notre Dame fans. Great showing from BYU fans out there.
Vegas is just a venue that should be part of our.
I think so. And realistically, like every year would be awesome, obviously. But I think the allure of that would become old. I think once every 3 or 4 years would be great.
The allure of it might get old for everyone who doesn't live in Vegas, California, and Arizona, because it's their one shot to get here without having to drive all the way up. And Vegas alone can fill a venue. We've seen that for years of BYU fans. But I think what I'm most interested in and why I want to see the schedule is because I want to see the schedule. It's the official thing of this is actually happening. We know July 1st is going to happen. It happens every year on the calendar.
Yes, it does.
June ends, here comes July. But it's the hey, Oklahoma is going to play this, or BYU is going to play at Texas on this date, or whoever. I don't care so much who's coming, who's going, but I just like to see it. I just like to see it. I think that's the intrigue. Because after you see it, it's like, okay, it's still a long ways till September.
And no matter when it comes out, it's going to be a long ways till September 3rd. And Sam Houston, who's making the upgrade from FCS to FBS the last year or two. But do you care which 4 aren't on the schedule?
No.
Don't care?
No.
Me too. I'm not as concerned about that outside of Texas and Oklahoma. While they're still in the Big 12, at least this year, I really would like them to be on the schedule.
And we'll see where BYU's going to be in the pecking order. Because everyone wants Texas and Oklahoma one more shot. Do they give them to the longtime league?
If they're petty and vindictive,
members?
They'll make them go to UCF, West Virginia, and BYU.
Right, and they might be. And does BYU get the prime bye week? I don't know why they would. So where do they fit the new guys as opposed to when does Oklahoma State want their bye week? Do they outweigh BYU going, we'd like the middle of the season? Actually, you'll have yours in September, but it won't be in November.
Yeah.
Which will snap a trend of 12 years.
Yes, which will be good. Compelling November games, obviously, as BYU is probably even fighting for a bowl game at that point. And even when we get the schedule, we'll make some predictions based on what we think we know. No one knows what their rosters are like right now with the transfer portal. You can still get guys. People are still going to sign guys in 2 weeks on the official signing day, the second one, right? And then you get through the summer and everything. And then TCU was picked, 9th last year or something? They make the national title game. Yeah. It's just the fun of it is, well, we think it's going to be this, but let's play it out and see. What if Keaton Slovis is a 3rd-team All-American? BYU's 10-2. Who knows?
That's why we do it, right?
The
hype machine that is this show, once it gets the Big 12 schedule, look out.
We got 5 hours to
We're going to beat that drum for the next 7 months. It's going to be fantastic. Our next topic here on this Monday, what's it going to take for BYU men's basketball to get to the NIT?
That's the goal, right? Certainly NCAA tournament is the hope. That you make a run in Vegas and you shock even yourself, where BYU hasn't won the tourney since 2001. Right. BYU may not win the tourney ever again in the WCC or Big 12. But that's not the goal. The goal is to get to the NCAA tournament. This year, the goal is to get to the NIT. Right now, 14-7. BYU is playing good ball, won 9 of 11. Last year's NIT, by the way, featured one at-large non-Power 6 team, okay, Power 5 plus Big East, that didn't have 20 wins. I think BYU needs to get to 20 wins. That team was Utah State, by the way, 18-15. BYU needs to get to 20 wins. So I think in the final, there's 10 league games left.
And they've got 14 wins.
Yep, and so we hope there's 5 regular season wins in there. At least 5-5 is totally reasonable, plus at least a win in Vegas. So I think BYU is going to be in a position to be in the NIT. I was nervous the last couple weeks, but they've played better basketball. After South Dakota and UVU, we thought maybe this team is the worst team BYU's had in a long time. No, they've rebounded nicely. could have really secured something nice Thursday against Gonzaga. That one still hurts. Even though BYU beat Pepperdine on Saturday, I think that was still lingering. We'll talk to Foose about that, the disappointment of that. But BYU, in the next 10, it's going to be tough, Dave. St. Mary's twice, at Gonzaga, San Francisco twice, Santa Clara twice, LMU at home, who already beat you. At Pepperdine is historically tough. BYU's 6-5 there. Like, BYU's been almost better, had a tougher time there than almost the Kennel,
It
right?
has to be the view. It has to be the view.
Yeah.
Outside Firestone, there's the beach.
Yeah.
That must get to us.
BYU's won more in the Kennel, obviously, but it's going to be a tough 10. You don't have San Diego, Portland, who were two of the kind of the easier teams in the league. You played the one time.
Fortunately, they're not going to Portland. That's a different Portland team.
Well, I feel bad for the homies in the 503 because they always show up.
I know.
What do you think it's going to take?
I think what this team has going for it.
Hey, by the way, I want to point this out. Sorry. UVU's not a bad loss. It's not. It's almost quad 2.
Right. They're playing great.
It is quad 3 at the moment, so I understand. But UVU is about to be quad 2, and then it won't be a bad loss. So our graphic's right for now.
Mark Madsen's got it going there. They're playing great at Utah Valley, and they played great against BYU. Beat them straight up. Biggest loss of the season for BYU. Look at the Cougars have played.
Yeah.
And UVU beat them by more points than anyone.
Only one in double digits, by the way.
I think what this team has going for it is it plays defense. And we'll talk to Foose about that too. Defense has kept them in all these games.
Yeah.
There's years where BYU's been hammered. Well, Gonzaga beat them by 33 points last year at the Marriott Center. This year at the Marriott Center, they beat them by 1. The Zags are a different team than they were last year. They're ranked all the way back to number 8 as opposed to number 2.
6 today.
And their numbers up to number 6. But their makeup's a little different, but still, that's a 32-point difference on your home floor with a lot of new guys that have never even been in that game.
I think last year's team was better than this year's team and got destroyed.
Yeah.
So this year's team plays.
But they play better defense. Yeah. And I think this week determines your theory on whether or not they can get to 20 wins. Because you get through this week, and then these two teams, Santa Clara and San Francisco, are coming here. LMU's coming here. BYU will beat them here. Should have beat them there. St. Mary's going to be a tough one, but the Marriott Center will be full again, and BYU's getting older, more experience each time they take the floor. Basically starting with Gideon George as the only senior, Rudy Williams as a senior transferred in, still trying to figure himself out, and sophomores, freshmen.
Yeah.
And Spencer Johnson missed 9 games with an injury. So there's maybe our best player, and for 9 of the games he's been out. So we're just still trying to figure things out. And I know it sounds like an excuse, but you got to go through experiences to become an experienced team.
Yep.
And Mark Pope made the comment the other day that Drew Timme has played in more sold-out Marriott Center games than anyone on the BYU roster. Think about that.
That's crazy.
So no wonder when the pressure came, and we're going to ask Foose again about that, when the pressure came, the guys had never been in that before, and then they didn't respond like they had hoped. And all the fans are saying, hey, act like you've been here before.
They haven't.
Be better. Be older than you are. And they're like, we can't. We can just only grow, day by day and through experience. So in Spokane, why can't they go beat them? Don't get out rebound by 17.
Because they haven't lost in like 3 years.
Get your inbounds pass in and play defense.
Yeah.
Because that's the blueprint to beat them. And they had a shot at them down here. They beat them 3 times up there.
Yeah.
We're going to ask Foose if they think they
Do I need to say I'll shave my head if they went up there?
No, do not.
I don't want to.
We're not going that way.
I don't want to.
We're not going that way. But it's not out of the realm of possibility by how they played them straight up last Thursday.
I hope so.
Challenge for sure.
Because I think BYU at home was so different. I just think the Marriott Center was rocking, and that really gave BYU some juice. BYU shot so well there. Certainly, they listen when. We've had an NIT one-and-done team go beat the #1 team in the country, Gonzaga, and end their undefeated season. Like, crazier things have happened. So we'll see how it goes coming up on February 11th. Our question of the day. At this point, do you care when the Big 12 schedule comes out? At Clark and Addison on Twitter, weighing on Facebook and Instagram as well. Rumor has it that the Big 12 will play football in 2023. But as of now, that cannot be confirmed.
Well played, Clark. Well played.
We'll see. Hey, we were told February. By Brett Yormark himself, but then some reports about Tuesday.
So
people
now all
got
of a sudden
excited.
we're thinking, well, that's tomorrow. Could it
How
be tomorrow?
about we just do this instead of like teasing the big announcement? The announcement is big or not. You know what I mean? When it comes out, it is what it is, and we'll see what happens.
I know, but that's not how we do it. It's like Christmas. We all know it's the 25th, but the buildup is for every day leading up to it.
It's true. The Angels did say, hey, we got a big announcement for Jesus' birth. Yeah,
when they delivered on their promise.
Yes, they did.
They plan to be with us tomorrow night for BYU basketball with Mark Pope. The coach and a guest will sit down with Greg Wrubell and set the stage for this week's road trip to Santa Clara and to San Francisco. Watch it tomorrow at 8:30 Eastern Time on the BYU TV app.
And Foose is in studio after an eventful weekend and big week coming up. There he is. This is BYU Sports Nation.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by BYU Food to Go, the MVP of your next event.
Whether you want to rock your retirement on the court, on the snow, on the waves, or in the gym. At Mountain America, we're here to help you get things rolling. Learn more at macu.com/retirement. Mountain America, guiding you forward.
Trio Orem Senior Living believes in empowering seniors to live life to the fullest. We help eliminate stress out of daily life when you live at Trio. Less time focusing on housework means you can socialize at one of our many events, with safety in mind, of course. And did we mention our spacious apartments with modern amenities? Learn more about setting up a private tour at trioorem.com.
Utah is a special place. Our communities, the people, the history. There is no place quite like Utah. At Siegfried and Jensen, we're honored to say that we are from Utah. We live here, work here, and when someone is injured, we're proud to say we've helped a neighbor when they've needed it most. We know Utah. At Siegfried and Jensen, we're here for you.
Learn more at siegfriedandjensen.com.
Why are you here then?
I stammer. No one can fix it. Aren't you going to start treating me?
Only if you're interested in being treated.
Your method was unorthodox and controversial.
Long live the king.
I'm trying to get you to realize you needn't be governed by fear.
Get up, you can't sit there. Listen to me! Why should I waste my time listening? Because I have a voice!
Yes, you do.
Hey, more Foose is better for all of us. Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation. Jarom Jordan alongside Dave McCann. Foose is in the house in Studio B. I think we've had you in here before, but it's been a minute, right?
That might be my first time. Actually.
Might be the first time? Okay, yeah. Here we go. First time for everything. Welcome to the show. Great to have you. Congratulations on the win against Pepperdine, 19-9. What did it take for the team to get up for that game, given how well Gonzaga went until the very end?
Yeah, like, for sure it was super, like, emotional, you know, like, after we lost that game. Like, because we had it and we just gave it away, you know. But the next day, coach just come and talk to us and say, we can grow, you know. Like, we're going to let that game affect us. You have to motivate us, you know. And that's how we just say, okay, let's just forget about that. It was super, even at the beginning of the game against Pepperdine. You can see everybody was not super happy, super emotional, but we just have to keep fighting and find a way to win. And I feel like that's what we did Saturday.
You can learn a lot in a defeat.
Yes.
Especially a crushing one.
Right, yeah.
Let's go back to Gonzaga for a moment. In the last couple of minutes, you've seen the film, you've talked about it and all that stuff. Can you still believe it happened? I mean, you had them, and then they got you.
Serious. But it was one thing Coach also talked about. He said, like, we just have to be present, you know. I feel like all we thought we won, you know, we were up 4 and we got the ball in our position. We thought we already won, you know. And there was a couple defense mistakes, assignment we did, you know. Like, we just have to stay present and just, like, taking care of offense, defense, you know, at the same time, you know.
So you go into the locker room after the game.
Yeah.
And take us in there. What was that like?
It It was actually really bad, you know, like a lot of my teammates was crying, you know. It's just like everybody was just so mad. Nobody want to talk to each other, you know. And coach was super frustrated about it. You can even see it, you know. But he talked to us. He just like tried to motivate us, even, you know, he was super emotional and super mad at the same time. But he tried to stay positive, you know. So we can, he said, because like we're gonna play against a big team Saturday, you know. He said we just gotta forget about that and be ready for the next.
Was that hard?
That was super hard for sure. It was super hard, yeah.
But you guys got up for Pepperdine, which is a good young team. They've got some real length. They got a lottery pick potentially in Maxwell Lewis. They got some height. Yet you guys come out and play a nice game. Obviously, second half was 50-plus for both teams, which is crazy. But now you have a big week coming up. Now that you're 6 games into league play, what have you kind of learned about yourself and this team so far at 4-2 in league?
Now I feel like I really like do believe on my team, you know, because like every game is different, you know. You just gotta come and you cannot just come and don't show up, you know. I feel like this league is super hard. If you come show up, you will win. But if you don't, you will lose for sure, you know. Like I feel like we just, like what I said before, we just have to be present, you know, and focus like everything. Like don't just focus like what's gonna happen. Just be present, like focus on offense and after go play defense, you know. I feel like that's going to help us win a lot of games in the league.
In our game prep Saturday, Mark Pope told us, we talked about defense, and that's the identity really of this team. But he raved about how you and Ali Atiki have improved your defense from last year to this year tremendously. What are you doing that's making you a better defender?
Now, coach been challenging me a lot, you know, because he said he really don't want me to stand in the block like 7'5", you know. He's always make a joke, you know. He say, Fous, you have to be able to guard like a guard, you know. And all the coaches was talking to me about it. Just I have to challenge myself to be able to move my foot, be able to guard 1 through 5, you know.
And that's, you guys have been doing that more, switching 1 through 5.
Yeah, we've been doing that a lot. I feel like that's been helping our team a lot, you know, because we don't have to do so many rotation, you know, like which has been super helpful there.
And that's why we see Jan Zidek getting in the post on Dallin a couple times.
Oh, yeah, that was...
hey, sometimes that's what happens, right?
Yeah, sometimes that's what happened, you know.
And defensively, this team was, you know, up to 23rd on Saturday, 30th right now. At the beginning of the year, Mark Pope said, hey, this is going to be our identity. BYU typically has been more offensive, right, and then some defense. How has this team been able to get to that point where you're a top 30 defense in the country?
I feel like because we actually know we're a good offense team, but it's just a little way, you know, sometimes, you know. And I feel like if we're not always consistent on offense, we have to be great in defense, you know. I feel like that's super helpful because, say, if you can stop them, like if they stop you, you won't score, like, let's come and do the same thing, challenge ourselves so our guy, they won't score on us too, you know.
When you need a break, Atiki comes in. How impressed are you with the development of his game?
No, I really love his game, you know, like, even last summer, he was always in the gym, you know. Whenever you come, you see him, or after practice. He's just like, you can just see it, he just want to get better every time, you know. And he's working super hard about it, you know. I'm super excited and happy for him.
At some point, you're going to play together? I know it's him or you because there's 2 bigs on the team.
There's 2 big, yeah. But if we got one more big, yeah, me and Atiki will be playing together a lot, you know.
That'd be
so I can be able to play for a little bit, you know.
Hey, yeah. And we've talked about this before, but at 6'6", with a 7'2" wingspan, you're unique physically in that you're not a 6'10" guy playing the 5. You're a 6'6" guy playing the 4 who's really playing the 5.
Yeah.
What's it like every night to go up against a guy that's 6'9", 6'10"? Yet Mark Pope corrected us one time and said, you need to think of him as a 7'2" guy with that wingspan.
Oh, no, I think so. Is because I'm kind of like getting used to now, you know, because I say, whoever I'm going to get, it's going to be at least 6'10" or over, you know. I say, for sure I have to play physical, you know, because don't let them catch easy, you know, because they have a height advantage, but I just have to use my strength, you know, like to make the defense a little bit harder on them, you know.
It's just been challenging you to grow. I guess last year you get thrown into the mix early.
Yes.
You're constantly going up against it. I guess, have you felt like this has made you grow the last 2 years, these couple of challenges?
It actually made me grow a lot because coach told me after, it was last year actually, coach said, Fouss, you gotta grow fast, you know, because I was just still trying to figure it out, you know, but I was still doubting on myself a little bit, you know, but after me and coach got tired, I said, okay, I just gotta start playing, you know, like believe in myself and just start playing.
When you get the ball down in the low post, there's a lot of head fakes. Are you sizing up the guy? You just need him to get off balance just a little bit before you go around him or over the top? Or are you just going, if I go right up, he's going to swat my shot? What's the strategy?
No, actually, I'm not scared if they block my shot, you know, because I'm more like, you know, I'm just reading them what they're going to do exactly, you know. Because I told you, like, for sure they're taller than me, you know. I just got to be a little bit smarter, you know. I cannot, because if you come to jumping contests, I might win, but not always, you know. I just have to be able to figure them out, like keep on faking them. I know for sure they're gonna jump. First one, second one, yeah, for sure they're gonna jump, and I can be able to go to other side and just score, you know.
And the nature of your game is very physical. You like contact. You get to the free throw line a lot. Since December 10th, you're 48 of 53 from the foul line. You're the best free throw shooter on the team. And there's not many centers in college basketball who are the best free throw shooters on the team. Why are those shots so important to you, and how much time do you spend in the gym shooting free throws?
And I actually do spend a lot of time shooting free throws, especially with Coach Nick Robinson and Mark Pope, you know. Because I was struggling a little bit, like putting my hand up. Mark Pope told me, like, if you can put your elbow a little bit higher, your free throw gonna be nice, you know. That's what I've been working on, and every day I just stand in the free throw line, just shoot until I feel good, you know.
I'm going to use that at the free throw line, because once you finish playing in, high school or whatever at our level, the free throw gets you in the game. That's the most important shot, so I got to use that. That's awesome.
Okay, cool.
Okay, we're talking to Fouss here on BYU Sports Nation. Huge week coming up. At Santa Clara, they're a really good team. At San Francisco, they're good too. They've struggled in league, but this is a huge road trip. How is the team going to prepare for what looks like one of the biggest road trips of the season?
For sure, we got like film right now, you know. We're going to go watch film, but this is like two of the best teams, you know, like Santa Clara there. We lost against them last year. That was super disappointing last year, you know. That was a tough week. That was kind of super tough. The season unwound there a little bit. Yeah, that's what we really like went down last year, you know. And we know who they are, you know. We just gotta be ready, like, just gotta come punch them this year, you know. Like, we're gonna let them punch us first, you know, before we react, you know. Those two teams, you know, they're super good. We just have to be ready, like, follow all the defenses assignment, you know, like, just be there what you have to do, you know, like, no, there can be mistake, but make sure, like, it's not always, you know, so we can be able to beat those teams.
You look further down the road. February 11th, you go to Spokane. Do you feel last week gave you the blueprint to go up there and beat the Zags in the rematch?
No, yeah, because that, I talked to that a little bit, you know, because I say we can beat those Zags, you know, like, last week I was super confident about it, we're going to beat them, you know. But it just come down to some mistake, but against Spokane, yeah, it's going to be nice there. A week or two ago, we had a mixed Romanist from the men's volleyball team in. He's Lutheran, and I asked him what it's like being Lutheran at BYU. What's it like being a Muslim at BYU? You're one of the unique athletes in the history here that is Muslim. No, it's actually super cool, you know, because I feel like there is a lot of similarity, you know. Like, I feel like I'm, like, everybody is respecting me with my belief, you know. Like, it's just like, I'm super happy to be here, you know. Like, I never feel like someone is treating me because I'm practicing different religion, you know. I took a Muslim Islam in the gospel class, and I found so many similarities between them that I didn't know before. It was great. So. Yeah, it was a lot of similarity. Yeah. It's awesome, man. Super cool.
When you make a big play and the crowd goes, Fouss, you know they're not booing you, right? Did someone have to say, hey, that's actually being nice? No, it's one of the it's one of the amazing things ever, you know. Like, all the crowd is screaming your name. It's just, like, amazing. Did you think at first they were booing? No, actually, I never thought that because... You never thought? Yeah, a couple of black people come talk to me. They say, just, you know, we're not booing you. I say, yeah. Just wanted to make that very clear. Yeah, it's a strong vowel. Yeah, Fouss. Well, good luck this week. Thank you. Huge road trip, and we appreciate the time, man. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Fouss. The great Fouss. The men hit the road while the women are home this week. Lauren Gustin and the Cougars host San Francisco Thursday afternoon. This is the game where all the school kids come and the noise level goes through the roof, even when there isn't anything going on.
SpongeBob, Justin Bieber, it's going to be rocking.
Must-see TV Thursday, 1 Eastern on BYU TV and the BYU TV app.
Okay, when is Blake Freeland going to declare his intentions to go to the NFL or not? Today's the day. We'll see what happens. And Andy Reid or Fred Warner, better path to the Super Bowl. We'll discuss. This is BYU Sports Nation.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork sells Ford vehicles including the F-150, the pickup designed for work and play. Tim Daly Ford maintains a large inventory, providing more choices for selecting an F-150 with the power and engineering to carry and tow heavy loads. The F-150's design offers comfort, safety, and a range of options to choose from. Think Ford, think Tim Daly Ford in Spanish Fork.
They prefer to be bringing the heat, getting set for success, demonstrating their drive. But when their blood and sweat turns to tears or anything else, we lay the groundwork for BYU's athletes to hit the ground running again, and you as well. Intermountain Healthcare, official medical provider for BYU athletics.
Before I was a coach at BYU, or before I was even a player, I was a BYU fan.
We've got great energy as a team, but we have even better energy because of our fans, and it's absolutely magical.
When you hear the crowd roar, that makes it more exciting, more of an adrenaline rush.
The roar of the crowd, you can feel it on the floor, you can feel that energy, and it's unlike anywhere else in the country. BYU Sports, it's all about the fans.
This is BYU Sports Nation. To interact with the show and get great content throughout the entire day, follow us on our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok.
Here's Dave. I am Jarom. Let's whip it. Cougar Whip Around is presented by Maersk, your e-commerce logistics shipping partner.
Blake Freeland named the second highest graded offensive tackle for Pro Football Focus. Today, the last day for players to declare for the draft. Still no declaration as we sit here live on a Monday morning.
Is he going to do it today? I would imagine he goes. Depends. Does he want to guarantee himself to be a first rounder? He could be an end of the first rounder, it sounds like, perhaps second or third round at this point. But Blake Freeland's one of the best tackles BYU's had in a while. Brady Christensen obviously was a third rounder a couple of years ago. Blake's in that category, if not a little higher. PFF loved him. PFF loved Brady as well, who's had a really successful first 2 years with the Panthers. So it's exciting either way. Obviously, we'd love to have Blake back, but honestly, he's pretty stinking good. He should probably go.
So if at the end of the day he hasn't declared, is he back?
I guess so. I don't know.
Anyone seen him in class last week?
He probably sends in the digital fax, if you will. Who knows if he declared. Honestly, sometimes, and we learned this from Keaton on the show, they're waiting to make a graphic.
Yeah.
That's what holds it up. It's not the decision.
It's the presentation.
The graphic. Yeah, exactly.
It's so exciting to be in college and be close to getting a job. So more power to him. Came to BYU to get a job. His job might come a little earlier than his diploma.
Ian Rappaport of NFL Network reports the Jets are going to talk to Dolphins pass game coordinator Darrell Bevell, who lives right by Mark Pope, by the way, at least has a house, about their vacant offensive coordinator job. Would you like that fit for Zach Wilson and the Jets?
Yeah, I would. He's been successful. He's been patient with quarterbacks. And Zach needs someone who's been successful and who's patient.
He turned Tua Tagovailoa into one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL for a spell this year. Obviously, the concussions have set Tua back. But what a performance from the Dolphins yesterday, nearly taking down the Bills. I think that would be interesting. And obviously, Darrell was my guy at the Seahawks, famously threw at the goal line against It's too soon. I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it. But I brought it up.
Listen, whatever gives Zach a chance to regroup. And he's too young of a pro to throw him out, you know. Some people just want to, you weren't a success, you're out. It's like, hey, the NFL's a job. It's a business. Stay in the business. Get your chance. And eventually, when you get your chance, you got to deliver. But that doesn't have to be your first year or second to be judged on whether or not you can even play the game.
He's certainly got to show it this third season if they give him a shot.
Yeah,
which I think they will early.
They're invested in him financially.
Yes.
Now they're investing in him with a coach. At least it looks like.
Well, we'll see who it is.
Which Cougars in the NFL loss was the most heartbreaking? The Chargers or the Vikings? Or did the Seahawks loss take?
It was the Seahawks because I root for the Seahawks. Someone tweeted at me over the weekend, you should root for Fred Warner and the Niners. I will never root for the Niners, okay? I have a team. But I root for Fred individually. Honestly, looking at it just from a neutral perspective, it's the Chargers. And you feel for Kyle Van Noy and Michael Davis. They're up 27-0.
How does Herbert lose that game to Lawrence?
How do they not run the ball effectively? How do they? What's funny is Asante Samuel Jr. had 3 picks, but then he's the guy that gets burned and gives up the first down and lost the game because they set him up to be a one. I saw a great film breakdown on Twitter of this, but yeah, Chargers, 27-0. What?
What's great about the playoffs is these professionals get in a game where it means so much for the first time in a long time for some of them, and you can see the effort that they give and the pressure that some of them crumble with, because pressure is real. We saw it Thursday night. When pressure turns on you, it's hard to get it right.
And sometimes you don't want to lean over the goal line at 2 feet away and have a fumble. You know, it happens. The BYU men play at Santa Clara in San Francisco in hoops for the final time as members of the West Coast Conference this week. Will you miss these kind of games?
Been to both those arenas over the years calling games, and absolutely not. The great folks who work at those places, and the coaches have been good and all that stuff. All that's great because it's interaction with human beings, no matter what league you're in. But just the structure of these small gyms, it affects how BYU plays. It affects the feel of the game, the magnitude of the game. Those are all going away. They are all going away. BYU's going to play a mass number of home games in non-conference, and then they're going on the road in the Big 12 into Big 12 venues. And it's going to be something that we've never even experienced before.
Yeah, I obviously won't miss losing to opponents you feel like you should beat on the road. It's different when you're playing a road game that you don't feel like you should win, and then suddenly you win. Sort of expectation will be different. It'll be sort of a lower standard of like, okay, can BYU go 500 in league? This is a really tough league. So good you can make the NCAA tournament sub 500 in league. So that'll be exciting. It's a new opportunity, and so I look forward to it.
When the Pit and the Thomas and Mack Center were rocking, those were must-see TV games for BYU when they were on the road. In person or on BYU TV or ESPN or wherever. The women's team's on a 6-game winning streak. What's more impressive, the streak or the fact that Lauren Gustin has 68 rebounds over the last 3 games?
It's Gustin. And certainly this team has turned it around, Dave. They were struggling early, but they have found what works for them. Nani Falatea has really emerged as a star for this team as well. But the way that Lauren is scoring and rebounding the ball, especially, unbelievable. She's out-rebounded 2 of the last 3 opponents herself.
You got to watch Thursday's game just to see what she's about to do.
Is she going to get 20 again?
Is she going to out-rebound San Francisco by herself?
And Can you imagine walking into that game as a Don going, we need to just out-rebound her, not the team.
The whole team box out her and see what happens. She's been great.
You cool with these Big 12 sports bar logos that were tweeted out, and which one do you like the most?
Well, I like the BYU one the most, but I think underneath it needs to be a green,
what a homer.
A green Sprite sign. and then you can put that up in any bar in the Big 12.
I like Kansas State, just super old school with the Wildcat. The Baylor one's fun, although Baylor is in the doghouse here for taking the Barringtons. Oklahoma State's fun. Cincinnati's old school. UH is like the same logo. Kansas is very old school with that Jayhawk, but yeah, those are super fun.
I don't think this has ever been a thing for us.
What's a bar? Provo has 1, I think.
It's a swig. You go and get a swig, right? You go in. That's the closest thing we got.
Is that what it is?
How about this image? Is it the image of the night from Saturday? The crashing wave as Pepperdine came in and got beat.
Nice.
Take a look at this.
Jan Zidek gets fouled, goes to the ground, and then it's like, what just happened with Jan? Is he okay? He was totally okay. No context college basketball fitting this out, but he took a moment to really rest there.
just taking a break right in front of the rock. I'm sure they were encouraging him to get back up. Men's volleyball back at the Smith Fieldhouse on Friday night. You'll be on the call. 13th ranked Cougars. Are they still 13th?
We'll find out this afternoon. As of now, yeah, absolutely.
Farley Dickinson is in town. You can watch it live at 9 Eastern Time on the BYU TV app.
Who has a better shot at making the Super Bowl, Andy Reid and the Chiefs or Fred Warner and the Niners? I wish they were out of it, but they're still in it. This is BYU Sports Nation. Hey, Fred.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Maersk, your e-commerce logistics shipping partner.
Quick crack. Wash all you want. Don't drive dirty.
This competition is going to be something else. You have to be able to break through those hard moments when it hurts the most.
Whatever you think you're capable of is true.
You're a fighter. Hold your head up. You know what you're capable of. We're all proud of you.
That's what makes a champion.
Let's go! Wow! Welcome back to BYU Sports Nation live from Studio B on this Monday, January 16th. Blake Fralin, you coming back or not? What's going on? All right, let's talk about the best path to a Super Bowl win. We've got Cougars on both sides left, and Fred Warner and the Niners in the NFC, Andy Reid and the Chiefs in the AFC. Who do you feel like has the best path to the Super Bowl? Now, granted, they could meet in the Super Bowl again like they did a few years ago.
And in that game, I thought the Chiefs would roll, and the 49ers beat them, right?
The Niners lost.
Did the
Chiefs
Niners
won.
beat the Chiefs?
Niners were ahead most of the game, Dave, and then the Chiefs came back and won.
What game was it the Chiefs came? Was it with the Patriots? Was it the Chiefs-Bucks where it was just the game was a total dud Super Bowl when we thought it was going to be so much offense?
Bucks destroyed
was that
the
what
Chiefs
it was going to be?
The next season, I believe.
Well, I think the Chiefs have the best road because Andy Reid has Mahomes, and Fred Warner has a new guy quarterback who's playing great in Purdy.
Yeah.
But
tell me about it.
But yeah, as a Seahawk fan, you can win a lot of things with defense, and Fred's defense. Although you know what, the last few games, they haven't been great on defense. The Raiders lit them up.
Yeah.
The Seahawks moved the ball pretty well on them, I thought, for a time there yesterday.
First half was good, but second half outscored 24-0.
But Fred's got that going for him. But you know, and Reed's been there before and knows how to. He's just got guys. I like that Mahomes.
Yeah, I think in the NFC, certainly the games will be easier, I think, for Fred Warner and the Niners because they play the winner of the Bucs-Cowboys tonight, which is going to be a fun game. And then it's Eagles-Giants. Eagles, we'll see how legit they are. Giants, nice win against the Paper Tiger Vikings, who had a negative point differential. They've been good, but like 11 one-score wins, you're kind of lucky. Like TCU, super skilled to get to that point, but hey, a little bit of luck there. But it's the AFC that is the tougher road because it's Chiefs versus Jaguars. Certainly you can beat the Jaguars at home. Watch out for that second half comeback. But Bills-Bengals is a massive game. And then again, if the Bills win, this is going to be in Atlanta with the Chiefs. So neutral side because of the Damar Hamlin.
But it takes weather out of it. So then you'd have you'd have the two quarterbacks under perfect conditions going at each other.
That'd be wild. They could certainly meet in the Super Bowl. The thing with the Niners that's a strength but an issue is how long can this go with Brock Purdy? Like, you're going, Brock Purdy is going to lead us through the playoffs. Christian McCaffrey has changed everything for them, plus that dominant defense.
And their receivers are healthy.
Yes, they have so many amazing weapons. They just do a lot really well, and it hurts to say that.
Remember, the Ravens won with Trent Dilfer at quarterback.
Yes, they did.
Because of their defense.
But they had, an elite defense, right? And McMahon had a good year, but you had Walter Payton, right, in '85 with that Bears defense. Those two. So, it'll be interesting because now we have these Cougs left. The Chargers were the others, right, and the Vikings, as we mentioned in headlines. We'll see what happens. But Chiefs, it's going to be a tougher road with the opponents. But Fred Warner is hoping that Brock Purdy is the second coming of Tom Brady behind Drew Bledsoe and that first season.
How about the way these two Cougs that are left in the playoffs represent BYU in very different ways? With Fred Warner, arguably the best linebacker in football.
I think he's the best defensive player from BYU in the NFL ever.
Possibly, yeah. And one of the nicest, Kurt Govea might say something about that, but
Kurt was never all-pro like Fred twice.
That's true.
Yeah.
He won a couple of Super Bowls.
That's awesome.
Right?
Yeah.
And he's old school. So the old school guys say, hey, wait a second.
Leon White and all those guys. Hey, hold on.
But off the field with what Fred does with his charity and the way he lives his life and how nice he is. And then you look at Andy Reid, and he's done the same thing for so long.
Yeah.
So widely respected by everyone that he's come across. And could you find two Cougars that are better reps of BYU than these two guys right now in the NFL? And that's not a knock on all the others because they've been great, but now these are the two still standing.
At the highest level.
Look at what they're doing.
Andy Reid might be the best coach. Fred Warner might be the best defensive or linebacker, middle linebacker, which is awesome. Fred, by the way, every time men's basketball goes to the Bay Area, seems like he goes into the game. When BYU played Stanford, he went on the Friday night and went and talked to the team, which is awesome. So he is absolutely a Coug. And, of course, Andy Reid, in a game this year at LaVell Edwards Stadium, was it ECU, I believe? They had a bye week, the Chiefs. He's sitting in the stands like a normal human being.
I think he was eating a cougar tail. I think
probably.
Yeah.
It was a cheeseburger probably and a cougar tail. Because the
guys, they don't take themselves too seriously. Yeah. They realize they're blessed with their opportunities, and they're so good at giving back. And that's what makes them beloved. We were talking to Jimmy the other day, and I said, Jimmy, your legend is not that you made all those shots. Your legend at BYU is you made all those shots, and you were such a good, humble guy through it all, and you're still that way, which is why people line up to see you.
Yeah.
And the same thing with these guys. It's amazing. You've got to be skilled to get a platform. And then how you handle the platform on and off of it, I think determines a lot of your legendary status, especially around here.
Andy's son, Spencer, is the interim strength and conditioning coach right now. He's been on the staff. We'll see if maybe he's made the head guy. That's to be determined. But he is around and moved into my ward as well.
That's
so
good.
I sat next to him in Sunday school the other day.
We want to see less hamstrings, less ACLs, less ankles.
Yes,
we want to see a healthy team all season.
Soft tissue issues can be controlled, hopefully.
Yeah. Good. BYU Gymnastics back in action on Friday night against Boise State. Our live coverage at the Marriott Center starts at 9 Eastern with Spencer and Mikkel Merkley right here on BYU TV.
Does my fantasy basketball reign continue? Because Lauren Gustin and Foose are really helping me out.
We're not even going to talk about your football.
Well, I did win the last one. This is BYU Sports Nation.
BYU Sports Nation is presented by the BYU Store, official outfitter of BYU fans everywhere.
If you're looking to build your brand awareness and increase market share as BYU moves into the Big 12, this is the place. BYU Athletics. We can provide the tools you need to make sure your company is seen and heard. BYU Athletics is where you can align your products and services with loyal fans that cheer for our Cougars. And they can also help your business win. Learn more about what a partnership with BYU Athletics and your company will look like. After all, this is the place. Email sponsorship at byu.edu today.
Here's the thing about BYU Sports Nation. It's a banner that unites fans all over the world. BYU TV and BYU Radio are all about bringing your family events and games live. On air, online, and on the free apps. It's the next best thing to being there, connecting your fandom with others across BYU Sports Nation. Download the apps and get exclusive access to analysis and interviews with players and coaches. BYU TV and BYU Radio, the place for all things Cougar sports. Tune in, join in.
Do you ever feel small?
3, 2, 1, go!
Have regrets? I guess we all have them. And trust. That's tough to earn or regain.
You are the winner of Survival!
Glad we're doing this.
This portion of BYU Sports Nation is presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics.
So good having Foose on the show earlier. BYU Sports Nation's on demand. Download the free BYU TV and BYU Radio apps or listen to the podcast, subscribe, rate, and review.
Time now for fantasy basketball follow-up on this Monday. Hey, I win again. 202 points for me thanks to 3 30-plus point Parbs performances against points, assists, rebounds, blocks, steals. Lauren Gustin just crushing it for me right now.
Last week I suggested to Spencer that he trade his entire team for Lauren Gustin.
I would win if that was the case still. But because it's a team effort, but Lauren puts me over the top.
Yeah, every time.
In fantasy football, I got dominated. I was 0-12. I won the bowl game because Jerry.
I didn't know you won the bowl game. I didn't see that in the paper. And so
I
thought you got beat the whole time.
In the Des News, you can put it in our clip. But yeah, 202 to 185. Spence putting up good numbers. I just have Lauren Gus. And Foose is doing good work as well.
Yeah, your forecast to have another good week.
Yeah, 6-0 in hoops, 7 wins in a row. It's going great. It's going great.
Congratulations.
This is what it's like to be Brock Purdy in the league. Okay, our question of the day. At this point, do you care when the Big 12 schedule comes out? Our elite voice of the day is this, presented by PAX Healthcare Elevated at Farmer_Hiram. I wonder what Hiram does on Instagram. Yes, because I want to clear my schedule for the best games. Send texts in Oklahoma to Provo before they leave the Big 12 so we can remind them of our dominance over them in the past. I believe it's 6-1 overall against those two.
We have had good experiences against those two.
5-1, 6-1, something like that.
Yeah. We had Max and we had Taysom to do a lot of that.
The one loss was 2011, Jay Keeps Rosapo. That was
by 1 point.
By 1 point.
In Austin.
Yep. Today's Rise Shout Out, presented by Mountain America, the official credit union of BYU Athletics, to the Reverend, the Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. for his influence, obviously. Take this day to do something nice to somebody, absolutely. It's never too late to do the right thing. Our thanks to today's guest, Foose.
Good luck to Foose and the Cougars as they hit the road. Conversation continues 24/7 on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. This and all of our shows are on demand on BYUSN.com.
Sorry to Dennis Pitta, we ran out of time. For Dave, I'm Jarom. Shout out to Keenan Young. We'll see you tomorrow for more BYU Sports Nation. This is Lauren Gustin getting another bucket. Go Cougs!